Alright guys, today me as a handstand expert gonna react to learn handstand fast in 5 minutes.
What's up, home slice? Lucas here. The handstand is not as hard to hold as people make it seem. That's right, with the techniques and hacks I'm about to show you in this video, you can be holding your first handstand in only 5 minutes. But you gotta focus.
Probably not.
So the first thing I want you to understand is a very important concept. It's why you probably can't hold a handstand in the first place. And if you understand this, you can fix it and hold a handstand. Hold your arm out, look at your hand. You'll notice your forearm bones, your ulna and radius, basically goes straight into your hand. But looky look, there's no heel here. No heel. You don't have a heel on your hand. The heels on your feet basically help you from falling backwards. You don't have that on your hand. Understanding this helps us understand how to find the balance point to help us hold a handstand. Rather than just trying to balance perfectly straight up and down, what you actually want to do is lean your body mass slightly more towards your fingers, and then use your fingers to counter that, to keep you in that balanced position. So now that you understand the optimal balance point for holding a handstand is leaning slightly towards your fingers, let's start applying this concept.
I would not say like this. I would rather say you should just, your hands are like sensors and you want to feel your weight on your whole palm of your hand. And then he's correct with the heel thing, but when we lose balance to the heel of the hand, you want to lean either with the shoulders or with the hips to counterbalance the underbalance. And I'm like more feeling my hands like a real sensor and just notice where my weight is, and I would evenly distribute it over the whole hand.
Concept into a position where we can balance on both hands, but is way easier to hold than the handstand. The frog pose. Squat down, pelvis between the feet. I want you to put your hands out in front, fingers facing forward. You are going to take each thigh and you're going to place it over that corresponding elbow. So left thigh over left elbow, right thigh over right elbow. Keep these arms firmly on the ground, and I want you to kick off into a forward frog pose. Now, if this is too much at first, if you're like, whoa, that's too intimidating, something that can ease you into this move is just lift one foot at first and then hop off the other back foot until you're in the frog position.
Or you can also put a pillow where your head is going to fall. This may also help you.
Don't worry, the frog is so much easier to hold than the handstand because all of your mass is way closer to the ground. Doing this exercise will help you quickly develop that mind-muscle connection between your fingers and finding your balance point for balancing on two hands. Work on that for about a minute in spurts of about 5 to 10 seconds, trying to hold yourself in that frog pose, focusing on your fingers and finding that balance point. After that, we're moving on to the next phase. Alright, for this next minute, I want you to find yourself a wall. We are going to get into a handstand-like position up against our wall. You don't need to be all the way on the wall. You can come back a few inches at first. Arms out, nice and firm, fingers spread. You want a wider base, more balance points, spread your fingers out. What I want you to do is I want you to find...
Also, you want to crumple in your fingers a little bit, but he's also correct with you want to spread your fingers and crumble a little bit.
One foot to jump off with and the other foot to swing up like this with, okay? Just do this a couple times. As you're doing this, start kicking up more and more until this kicking leg reaches all the way to the wall, touches the wall, and pushes you back down to your foot. While doing this exercise, always keep the jumping foot towards the ground, alright? Don't bring the jumping foot up like this right now. Just keep it always towards the ground like this. After we do this a few times, what I want you to do now is start to back away from the wall. We want to inch away until we find our sweet spot. You want to find that sweet spot to where you have both legs spread out in that position, to where you barely need to touch the wall with that back leg, and you can hold yourself up in a handstand position and work on.
I also want to mention it could be dangerous if you're too far away. If you're really a beginner and the space between the wall and your hands is too far away, you could fall in a dangerous kind of way. So take it slow, and I would recommend starting first closer to the wall and then slowly increase, and not be really cautious not to go too far away from the wall.
On focusing on using the fingers more. So because you're barely using the wall with that foot, you're going to be using way more of your fingers, getting you used to holding a handstand without any assistance. Remember, keep those legs spread back and forth just as so. Don't do anything fancy right now. Once you can feel that sweet spot, so sweet, what I want you to do now is we're going to move on to the next minute. For this next minute, we're coming back to the ground with no wall. You can always continue to use the wall if you need to. But coming up very soon, very shortly, I have this bonus hack I want to share with you. It's going to be so good. But first, the exact same thing with no wall, all right? Push back down, and then go a little more, push back down, and then a little more, push back down. Okay, you don't have the wall, right? If you start to come over to your back, instead of just flopping on your back or trying to roll out of it, what you can do is this leg, because I'm kicking over with this leg, I can take that same arm on this side and let it go to the side and then come around like a cartwheel, just like this, watch. Now try not to do this. What you want to try to do is find that sweet spot, but without the wall. Remember, leaning slightly forward, slightly towards that leg that kicked up in the back, but keeping both legs spread in the V position, using our fingers to hold us in that balanced position. I'm finding that sweet spot.
But it can definitely not hurt to learn to bail out first, so you're safe when you kick up into free space. And I also would recommend do it in front of the wall, but really try to do not touch the wall, so you have the wall as a backup.
There it is, right there. Oh yeah, so sweet. All right, y'all ready for this? Hack time. Bring it in. You have each hand out to the side. You're not likely going to fall side to the side because you're very stable here. Instead, you're most likely going to fall forward or backwards. We can...
Yes, sideways is when you learn to do the one-arm handstand, you have more the side, the lateral dimension, and then two-arm handstand, it's just forward and back, absolutely right.
Help prevent us from falling forward or backwards if we think of this invisible box. We have the sides covered, but we want the front and back covered. So what we do is we take one hand and we move it forward, and the other hand move it slightly backwards. Now you have this hand to really help you from falling forward, and this hand to really help you from falling backwards. Now when you were jumping off the ground with one leg and kicking with the other leg, that kicking leg will tend to go towards one side. On the side that kicking leg is going towards, that's the hand at first you want to place out more front. The other hand you want to keep in the back with that other back foot. That's because when you're kicking with this leg, you might tend to really kick too hard, and if you do, because it's over the side where the hands...
That's an interesting method. I never tried it out, but it could be interesting for some students.
We're out in the front. You can really use this entire arm to help push you back down to your position, or preferably hold you in the balanced position. So, see, I don't have to use much of my fingers. I can use my whole entire arm. Now, it's very important not to twist your torso, so don't start twisting to the side like this. You want to try to keep everything straight and aligned this way. So, boom. Now, this is way less tasking on the fingers and helps you understand how to hold balance by counteracting forward and backwards with your body, with your arms, and eventually with your fingers.
What? No way. Oh.
Get a little more confident. You can bring the hands closer together. Keep everything straight. And then bring them in until you're eventually back in the center. Focus on that sweet spot. Keep trying to get right back up into it, using those fingers to help push you back.
I will definitely try that out. I'm a huge fan of having different kind of variations, and it's not just one thing that works for everybody. And this could be also for me like a nice new vocabulary to introduce to my students. For me, I can probably do it like first try or second try because I have spent so much time on the hands. But it also is a nice tool just for me as a teacher to experiment with, and if I like it, I will introduce it also to my students or share it with you online. And yeah, interesting, definitely.
Back to your balance point if you're going too far forward. Nice, easy, and slow. Always feel free to go back to the wall if you need to, but boom, voila, you're holding a handstand. Now, if you want to bring your legs up nice and straight or do something else with your legs other than one out front, one out back, then all you need to do is practice, but keep applying those same concepts. But there it is. You have learned to hold a handstand in only 5 minutes. Incredible. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope it helps.
I don't think you're able to hold it in 5 minutes. It takes much more practice, but yeah, some good impulses here, and I hope you also liked the video. Thank you for watching.